What's not getting old is Joel Klatt's mock draft. He came out one. That's my Louis Riddick to Lukas right there. Joel Klatt. I watch every video, and he came out with his mock draft 2.0 today. And he had the Lions taking somebody. And it's a position we talked about last week as like a what-if scenario. And I want to talk about that what-if scenario, any positions now, because we're our post-free agency almost kind of get to that point. And, of course, Kevin Zeitler just got signed. So it kind of clarifies the draft a little bit. But here's who Joel Klatt had taking for the Detroit Lions. Kool-Aid McKinstry at 29. Yeah, Chop Robinson went 27. And then I'm
interested to see who was available.
Cooper DeJean went 28. Ennis Rakestraw went at 26. Nate Wiggins went to the Packers at 25.
I hope Nate Wiggins goes to the Packers. I do hope that.
Yeah, well,
expose that man.
Yeah, St. Brown. He's going to be, licking his chops. That's barbecue chicken. But what I will.
Sam Laporta in the open field. That's the thing you got to think about. I know we're not talking about Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins out there playing cover two. He's in his cover two flat, and Sam Laporta catches the ball. Now what?
Now that's you, Lucas. That's you. That's you.
It's not turning out well. Anyway, back to
I would love to see Lucas and Sam Laporta go one-on-one.
I'm diving for the turf.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Turf.
Hey, you got to go at the knees, man. I mean, hey, you just got.
Whoa! Don't say that about our starting tight end. Nah, come on, brother.
That's what Minnesota did.
Yeah,
come on. I mean, brother. Lucas doesn't have he can't take him down, but hey, it is what it is. Well, Kool-Aid McKinstry went to the Detroit Lions in his latest mock draft. Had an injury, couldn't participate in the combine. We were down there. We didn't get to check him out. We watched the DBs. We talked about this last week, fellas, where there might be a scenario where Brad Holmes takes a corner in the first round. And I think for me, I was on the side as I'm cool with it. I like it because there is some DBs you like, Max Melton. But after about Max Melton, I'm not a fan of the DBs left. Lucas, there's a couple guys you like, but it's more like, I think that the best DBs are going to go in the first 2 rounds to me. So if you are going to take a different position in the second round and Brad takes a DB in the first round, I'm okay with it because you're going to have Carlton Davis, Cam Sutton, Amik Robertson, and then your rookie who could rise and of course, be higher in the depth chart. I'm cool with it. Maybe, do I like Kool-Aid McKinstry? Yeah. Is there another corner? You guys know I like Kamari Lassiter. To me, it doesn't really matter. Just the fact that he takes a corner besides Ennis Rakestraw. I know we're not we're against Ennis Rakestraw here on this show. What do you guys think of the possibility of drafting a corner? Where are you at with it?
Lucas, I'll let you hit this one.
I mean, I just don't think it's good value. I think at the corners that are there, again, I'm not ever going to question Brad Holmes, but if there was thing to make me question the most is taking a corner at 29, just because you look, the cornerback room just got a whole lot more solidified. Now, I'm not saying don't draft a corner because you got Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson. Like, I'm not saying that. But in the first round, when you need an edge. If you don't re-sign Josh, you need a wide receiver, and this is at 29. Just take your pick. There's a future Pro Bowler waiting to happen. And even if you look at this, I wouldn't say safety, but if you go like the tackle or the guard, because you mentioned earlier, Taylor Decker, 8 sacks. He's getting up there. This is last year on a contract. I think I would prefer corner in rounds 2 or 3. You get a Max Mountain, you get a Chris Abrams-Drain, etc. There's guys that you can have Carlton Davis help develop. So that way, if you don't re-sign Carlton Davis next year, you have that. And you can still go get another corner next year in the draft in the first or second round. I think it's a position that's available, but taking it at 1, I mean, Brad's talked about it already. Just because a corner is available that everybody likes at that position doesn't mean that Brad likes him. And Kool-Aid, and I'm not saying this to you guys, but what does Kool-Aid do at an elite level? And I mean, if you guys have an answer, like I'm all for it.
I would say press man coverage.
So I agree. But then you look at, you take him at 29. Who's he pressing against? Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and then the Packers, obviously young wide receivers, but very good wide receivers. So he not the fastest wide receiver, and I don't care about combine times, but if you're going to take a press man corner, that's a risky pick, especially in this division. I say use your pick 29 at a more, I don't know what to say, but a position that has more instant high value just because it's corner's the toughest position to play in football. You know what I mean? I just don't think it's good value.
Lucas, I think we're lockstep on this because to me, it's like that 29th pick. I think there's a chance as well you see Brad even move up, get a player that he really loves. I think that needs to be, and I'm starting to fall more towards this. I think that first round pick has to be a player that instantly is going to make an impact or be able to come kind of step on the field and provide something for you this year on the Super Bowl run. Kool-Aid, can he do that? Maybe. But with what you have at corner right now, is he going to do that? Probably not instantly, because you've brought in. I think like what Brad's done in free agency, and Jeff, to your point, like you said, like we already have an idea of what free agency has done. Like we know what Brad is attacking. Specifically, he went and got 2 corners, and he went out there and got a guard, and he got a nose guard, like a nose tackle already. So like he basically showed us, hey, this is what I'm addressing in free agency. Now, like edge and a receiver, like to me, that's where I start leaning towards more like that's the addressing, like in the round 1, round 2. It's like you need guys that like you need a DN that needs to play right away. Like that's where I'm starting to think Brad is going to move up and maybe go after one of these elite edge rushers, is because of that. If he takes Kool-Aid, am I going to be mad? No, because Brad's been that guy that says, hey, I'm going to take best player available at the top of my draft board. And if that's Kool-Aid and McKinstry, I'm fine with that. And I know he got someone, and he's going to try and get the best players on the field at the same time. So I'm off kind of the corner in the first round. I think there's guys in the 3rd, 4th round that you can get. The Max Melton, like I think our show has fell in love with the idea of bringing him to Detroit, because that is depth and he can learn behind some guys that have played in this league. But I just think, like to Lucas's point, in that first round at 29, you could probably get better value for a guy that's going to be able to make an impact based on what you have on your roster come day 1 when it comes to training camp this year. And that's where I'm at with it. And I know Brad's not that type of guy though. Like he's a guy that he's like best player available. Like I want to get my guy at the top of the board and I'm going to chase him down. So if that's Kool-Aid, that's Kool-Aid. I just don't see, like, do you guys remember Brad's comments a couple weeks ago about corners at the combine? Mm-hmm. Where he was just like, it's hard to come by a guy that I really like at corner, especially in the draft. And yes, there might be a lot of them. Doesn't mean I like any of them. And that's why I think he went to the combine. He saw a lot of these guys. He probably met with most of them. And then guess what? Within the next 2 weeks, he went out and got 2 free agent corners. So like, I think he would rather address the corner position in free agency than in the draft. So I don't see us drafting a corner in the first round.
I mean, based off what Brad said before, right after the season ended, he said it. I think he went on 97.1 and said it. The free agency is for filling needs. The draft is for a BPA. You draft the best players available. So, you know, he's filled some needs in free agency. It's clear, whether some people think he did or not. Now, the draft argument for BPA, I don't know how he values some of these corners. And to kind of Lucas and your point, Booner, about a guy that you draft in round 1 that needs to come in and contribute right away, I do agree with that. Although I wouldn't be opposed to taking a corner, that if you're making that argument, I think that's 100% fair argument. And that's why I think we all agree in this, and we'll get to our mock drafts at 9:00, which I think you guys are going to like those. If he does stay put at 29, I don't know who he could take. Now, we would prefer he trades up, though, and takes a defensive end. I think that's where we're all kind of in lockstep there. Or go and take the best player available. Maybe it's a wide receiver. Who knows? But trading up is preferred, I think, from all of us. And maybe a Latu is there. Maybe a Jared Verse falls. I don't know how far he could trade up. He's done it before where he traded up to, 12 and drafted Jamison Williams. Was it 12?
Yeah,
I think it was 12. But regardless, I think he trades up, and I do think he takes an edge, because the edge, that other side of Aiden is the last kind of hole on this defense. I wouldn't say it's a hole, but it is.
Yes. No, that's a hole. Marcus Davenport is your starting defensive end. If you want to go win a Super Bowl, that's a hole.
Yeah, it is. Okay, that's fair. It is a hole. So that would be the other thing he has to address. And if you're doing that, it's going to be in round 1. So I think ideally, guys, he trades up and gets that guy. Not sure who it is, though.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on edge in the first round. Like, I just like a Darius, even if you don't move, like a Darius Robinson, like that might just be. We had this conversation last week. Trade up, and I did see some of your guys' mock drafts, and I'm excited for the people to see them, because I think like what one of you guys did, I think is a legit, like I could see Brad Holmes making that move, and doing what you guys did. So like, yep. I just think like if you looked at the whole roster right now, fellas, there's one position that's like you can upgrade that position, and that makes that side of the ball elite, and that is another edge rusher on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. If you put a guy there that can absolutely like can be great, that changes that defense. You have safeties, you have corners now, you have the linebacking room, you have now a DJ Reader in the middle with the Lee McNeil, you have Aiden Hutchinson. It's like, who's on that other side? You don't have a definitive starting edge rusher on the other side of Hutch. You do not, and you need it. And I feel like it's like a desperate, like, you need that. And there's nothing left on this roster where I'm like, you need this. Like, there's nothing left besides that one position.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I'm curious. I think he does trade up. I know we get closer to the draft. It's like trying to crack a safe with Brad, what he does. I think he would. I think trading up is on the table more than trading back. And that's what I think. I think if he doesn't trade up, he just stays put. And if you're trading up, you're going to take an edge, because that would mean if you get a Latu, hell, a Dallas Turner, if he falls down, he does. He's going top 10, or a Jared Verse. Then you're thinking to yourself, man, we got a defensive line with one expected to be premier, but one already a premier edge rusher on rookie deals, which is like unbelievable in its own right. So who knows? I know people in the chat were talking about Latu, and he medically retired because of a neck injury. Man, he was one of the, if not the most productive edge in college football this past season. And
he's an absolute animal, dude.
Yeah,
he is a dog.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick? What would you guys have rather had Brad Holmes go after like a Chase Young on a 1-year deal and draft like a Jackson Powers Johnson and trade up, or do what he's doing now and then go get an edge in the draft? Like, which way would you have him rather have done that?
I mean, I've said it before. I think guard's one of the more replaceable positions in football. I think it's a lot like running back and linebacker. But when you have a guy like Kevin Zeitler who's like that, and you can just plug and play, like, you can go and get a guard next year. You know what I mean? Like, especially like deep, like you can see around NFL lines across the league. Like, there's tons of 4th, 5th, 6th, second round guards that are there. Like, and a lot of the times that's where the money is with the offensive line too. It's not in the first round. Obviously you have the Panay Sewells, but you look at the lines and how they're built around the league. There's a lot of late round guys there.
Yeah, I think the thought of maybe a Jerzon Newton is kind of off the table at this point. I just think, any of the defensive tackles, Tavondre Sweat, I just think they have enough. It's kind of cluttered at defensive tackle. They need they need to get an edge somehow. And I don't know. We've had Russ come on, him and Scott do great work for the NFL draft. And we're going to get those guys on more often now that we're kind of free agency's over. I want to get those guys kind of breaking down more prospects for us. Because again, like one thing they always kind of talk about is the edge depth in this draft it isn't great.